I guess one of the things that we were talking about right before we came on was that really intrigued me was because people are not getting a view of what's really going on. Like, for instance, you had to take us through the fact that Ukrainian citizens, like in the Donbas region or in the region that you're in as well, that they're being attacked by Ukraine military, not Russia. And that basic fact is not getting through to the American public or the European public, due to censorship and all the things that are going on. But you were talking, and I think our audience would really want to hear what your day-to-day life is like. So what is the day-to-day life like when the Ukraine military, and now US is sending more and more weapons, and I believe there was a shelling that happened that hit civilians that was an American-made rocket. That was yesterday, and I finally got verified today. What is your day-to-day life like, or for people that are living in this region right now that are being, attacked?
Well, mine is probably very similar to yours. And even under the shelling, as much as they can, theirs is too. In between the shelling, this is part of, call it normalization. Okay. And it's going to sound very, very bizarre.
Okay.
Now, when the conflict first started, it was actually the first day it came into my neighborhood back in 2014. Mm-hmm. All right. I'd taken a bus to go to another city. Okay. I was coming back, and we see military helicopters flying by us we're on the highway. So they're heading toward where we lived. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So I get off the bus, and then the neo-Nazi group, Pravi Sector, a couple vehicles drive by with heavy weapons. They're taking over the border. All of a sudden, the town's filled with armored personnel carriers, tanks. People are running around with weapons. Mm-hmm. And you go out in the backyard, and there's a bunch of gardens. So it's a big, wide space. Where you look left, and you see a glint. And it's like, what? Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the war, Ukraine wasn't very organized, and they used hunting rifles for sniper rifles. And the glint was scope. And you look right, and you see a glint, and there's another sniper. So I tell my neighbor, there's snipers out here, look. So everybody runs inside, okay? They're in their houses. Well, this goes on for a few days. And then people start to normalize, and you start ignoring it, it becomes background. The entire time, the shelling never stops. For literally, 6-8 months, the shelling never stops. Now, a month into it, the Ukrainian army told the postmaster, hey, we're leaving. This group is coming in, and they're going to cleanse the village. Mm-hmm. You need to get children out of here. Mm-hmm. Cleansing means killing all the pro-Russians. Pro-Russian, Russian this, Russian that.
Or what they view as pro-Russian. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
Or what do they view as pro-Russian, right?
Well, I'm from Boston, and I'm a journalist, and I'm writing about them, so I must be Russian.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Anything that disagrees with them is pro-Russian. All right. So here we are. We're in a situation.
That sounds, George, that sounds like Democrats. Sorry.
Well, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
In more ways than you know. Now,
yeah.
So we're there. We've got 2 days. We're surrounded. We can't leave. They've mined areas on the border where they're not. They have heavy weapons everywhere. Mm-hmm. So how do we do this? So all I can think of is they're going to kill my neighbors. Mm. I'm going to be called out in the street, and I'm going to have to watch my neighbors shot. Okay?
Wow.
Well, the morning it was supposed to happen, 2 hours before it was supposed to kick off, all of a sudden this rocket attack happens. Now, they had a base with over 1,200 came in to do this cleansing.
Mhm.
1,200. And yeah, Kozak group. Okay, it's part of the militia. Did a rocket attack on their base, which pretty much destroyed the base. Sent the ones that survived running, so they left the area. So, we were within 2 hours of seeing a pogrom, living through one. And quite frankly, I mean, if had it succeeded, I wouldn't be here talking to you. That's the most obvious thing. That's what people on the front lines go through, and that's what they live with.
Mhm.
So when I talk about normalization, see, it's the threat of that happening right there, because in some villages, those people shooting at you are 500 meters away or 500 yards away.
Mhm.
Some of them, they could be half a mile away and they're hitting you with artillery, or a mile away. And still, if you're a mother with children, they still need to eat.
Mhm.
You've got to, the children need to grow up. They need to have some sort of education. So you try to get them to school. Okay.
Mhm.
You can't have a normal job because, well, they blew the factory up. So you're doing what you can, and humanitarian aid comes. But because of the internet, a lot of people, they communicate through social media, and it's part of the, again, normalization. Like I'm talking to you right now.
Sure.
So
Mhm.
you have a psychological distressor because, I'm talking to you, you're living this, you're talking to me, you're living this. So we're kind of de-stressing together because you understand exactly where I am. I understand exactly where you are,
Mhm.
and that's that. Now, since the beginning of Russia's intervention, there's been an uptick. People have hope.
Mhm.
It's not like some children, an 8-year-old, this is their entire life has been spent inside the conflict.
Yeah.
Now, let's say a 16-year-old,
Mhm.
from the time that they were 8, their entire life has been in the conflict.
Mhm.
So, this is molding an entirely new generation that need to de-stress from this at some point. And that intervention gave them hope of having a normal life. So, there's a little bit of hope on top of everything right now.
Well, that's good to hear.